Welcome to my fish room. You can't see a lot of what's going on in it. It's inside a garage. It's been turned into a fish room. Don't really care if you like it or not, but welcome. I have been inundated with comments about how Chille is threatening the judge. He's going to dox her. He's going to look stuff up online, stuff that's already out there, and he's going to regurgitate it to try to bolster his position that he is being treated unfairly, unjustly by the system. That the only reason he is losing his motions is because bias. When in reality, the reason why he's losing his motions is because the things he's asking for aren't legitimate. The things he's asking for would be unjust if he was granted them. And he's asked for the same thing like 6 times in a row. Take, for example, speaking of 6 times in a row, take, for example, the motion that he had originally filed to have his notice of voluntary dismissal entered before Kate and Josh responded. Now, had he just done that, he had a reasonable chance of prevailing. But he didn't leave it there. He then filed his First Amendment complaint. So, because he filed his First Amendment complaint, all of a sudden the court was like, well, now at this point, because you filed the First Amendment complaint, you lose. Had he not filed his First Amendment complaint, he may well have won. But he lost because he filed his First Amendment complaint, then he filed the motion over and over and over again until we are where we are. Now he thinks in his head, well, I lost and I don't understand why I lost. Therefore, the only reason I could have lost is because the judge is biased. And that doesn't make any sense. You lost because you lost. Now, before I go into that, the judge is not watching Chille's live streams. The judge does not care. Absolutely does not care about Chille. The judge has a lot of shit on her plate, and for her to want to jump into internet drama would be very weird. It would be unheard of. It's not reasonable, rational, normal. Chille pulls, about 150, maybe 200 people to a live stream. The odds of one of those 150 to 200 people being Judge Burroughs is somewhere between ultra slim and none. Not happening, dude. Sorry. You don't mean anything to her. You don't matter to her. You're nothing. You're nobody. In the grand scheme of things, 50,000 people spread throughout the world, even if we just said, okay, 50,000 people in the United States. Let's go ahead and say that. There's 330-ish million people in the United States. You're 50,000 people, most of whom, let's just be real, most of whom you bought and paid for, i.e. they're not actual people. You don't have a large audience. And you're not going to get people like Judge Burroughs. They're not looking for your fare. They're not looking for your content. She's educated. She's running in circles that you and I can't even begin to comprehend. She's probably got her. She's probably working political angles to get appointed to a court of appeals, etc. So it's like. To think that she's going to be involved in some internet drama between you and Kate is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And you're not the first pro se party in front of her. You won't be the last. You certainly aren't the most interesting party in front of her, and that's by a long shot. So to believe that you matter that much to her, that she's going to know your political persuasion and judge according to your political persuasion, that's just ridiculous. She's trust me, bro. She's not going to do it. She didn't do it. She's not going to do it. That's ridiculous. So in order to get her recused, you're going to have to file a motion, and you're going to have to file a motion to her, and you're going to have to show through affidavit that she is somehow biased against you, and not just biased against you, but biased against you in a way that didn't come about because of the pleadings. It has to be like extrajudicial bias. You're going to have to prove that somehow she was researching you on her own, which you're not that interested. Like, I get it. I find you interesting. You're not that interesting. There's a very small subset. There are cat videos. There are videos just of cats that get more views and subscriptions and likes than you do. Susan Bassey, who I disagree with, who most people disagree with, she gets like 300,000 views on a shit video about her being on the beach and having some Karen call the police on her. 300,000 views. Chille doesn't get anything close to that. He's not interesting. I don't know how to say it otherwise. It's not even remotely interesting. But he's going to have to show that extrajudicially, Judge Burroughs came into information, yada yada, about him, and he's not going to be able to do that. She's not going to be recused. She doesn't have to be unprejudiced against him. In fact, the whole point of presenting evidence to her is to prejudice her towards one side or the other. That's how she's able to make a decision. If she just weighed each side equally, each argument equally, then all of a sudden she would be able to make a decision. But she is able to make a decision because she weighs them and she is prejudiced by one side more than the other. So anyway, it's not going to happen. And only on YouTube, only in this particularly Karen-driven media, this Karen-driven format, would anybody believe that a judge who's handled some serious cases has never ever heard anybody upset with the judge's rulings, has never ever heard anyone suggest that the judge is biased, or that they're going to delve into her personal aspects or look up how she's taken, not bribes, but campaign contributions? I don't know. Federal judges don't do campaigns, so I don't even know how any of this plays out. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. State judges take campaign contributions, but apparently on her wiki page, she's received awards from various places. But to suggest that somehow makes her biased against Chille is pretty stupid. Again, Chille's like a nobody. In the grand scheme of things, Chille's a nobody. I mean, I'm a super nobody. I want to make that very clear. I'm not suggesting that I'm somehow more important than Chille. I am probably orders of magnitude, less of a somebody than Chille. I'm an absolute nobody, but I don't have an overinflated sense of self-worth. He does. He thinks that Judge Burroughs is going to watch his content. She's not. But yeah, it's not going to survive. I've taken a moment to look up various cases on recusing judges, and nothing even close to this is enough to recuse a judge on, enough where a court of appeals would be like, oh yeah, she totally should have recused herself. It's just not a thing. And she's not going to see the videos, the threats that Chille makes of doxing. Again, people on YouTube don't understand what real doxing is. Real doxing is when you show personally identifiable information like social security numbers, healthcare information, things like that. It's not just your name, your address, and your phone number. It's not your Wikipedia page, for fuck's sake. And calling someone sugar tits, calling a judge sugar tits, I wouldn't advise it because, again, it might prejudice a judge against you. And what I mean by prejudice, by the way, is like if there's a 50-50 shot, if the judge is like, well, I could go this way where I could go that way. The case law, the facts, it's perfectly balanced. Where I'm talking about prejudice is where that extra little bit of, but he's a dick. So that's going to tilt things just ever so slightly in the favor of not ruling for Chille. That's the problem. And who knows what percentage that is. I wouldn't suggest it be a high percentage, 1%, 2%, 10%. 10% would be like extreme. But yeah, so it's certainly not going to take anything outside of the realm of discretion. Anyway, I think I've rambled long enough. This is a little over 10 minutes. So the long and the short of it is, number one, the judge won't watch the video. Number two, only a severe asshole like the Crayon Bandit Dougie would even think about sending this video to the judge of Chille. Chille hasn't broken any laws that I can see, that I can think of in his videos. He's a bit of a butthurt bitch, but beyond that, like that's, butthurt bitches are pretty common on the internet, so what are you going to do? Nothing in there is going to help him. It could ever so slightly hurt him, but it's a very slight thing. And he is not going to get the judge recused. So do with that what you will. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.